of this week in Grosseto. It's the men's 1500 metres T52. It's one of the 4 wheelchair categories in the T50s. Thomas GEIERSPICHLER of Austria, Artem SHISHKOVSKIY of Russia. It's a race directly for the gold, 2 in this final, which means just the gold being awarded in this. Artem SHISHKOVSKIY, silver in the Europeans 2 years ago, in Swansea bronze in the 4 and the 15, and GEIERSPICHLER representing Austria, but with the orange. Gold in the last Europeans in the 15 and the 400 metres, that was in Swansea 2 years ago. Non-medal final. Raymond Martin is the dominant force in this for the United States. Might be watching somewhere. But GEIERSPICHLER very successful down through the years since he won a bronze in the marathon in 2000. In Sydney. GEIERSPICHLER reigning champion at this in the European Championships, having taken victory in Swansea 2 years ago, but also won this in Athens at the Paralympic Games there, and won the marathon at Beijing in 2008. So SHISHKOVSKIY has a lot of work to do here in order to get past a man who has won 12 major titles in his career. So it's GEIERSPICHLER for Austria, who's in the orange racing chair, SHISHKOVSKIY of Russia, the 2 in this final of the men's 1500 metres T52. Together track action underway here in Grosseto for these IPC European Championships for 2016. It'll be quite tight, we'd expect, for the first couple of laps with just the 2 in this final, and it may be a case of one letting the other through, but then expect the serious racing to start with a lap or 2 to go. But at the moment, GEIERSPICHLER is happy to be out in front, Rob, and maintaining his advantage in this opening lap.
Yes, and this is another example of where a good performance here would just maybe, it's not going to make Raymond Martin nervous, but it'll certainly make him sit up and take notice. Raymond Martin, the star of the American team, well, one of them in this T52 category. GEIERSPICHLER quite happy to set the pace at the front with SHISHKOVSKIY just behind him. This could get very, very tactical. GEIERSPICHLER, as you were saying, Will, has been around for such a long time. World champion in 2002, silver medalist over the 1500 metres in both Christchurch in 2011 and in 2013 in Lyon. Paralympic champion over this distance way back when in Athens. Well, back then, SHISHKOVSKIY wasn't even campaigning. He's in a wheelchair as a result of a car crash in 2009. So he's quite early on in his racing career. Looks pretty comfortable in second place at the moment. Picked up a bronze in this 1500 metres back in Swansea and got a bronze in the 400 as well. So the Russian does have a reasonable turn of speed in the closing stages, but this is all at a canter for both of them. GEIERSPICHLER looks so easy here as he comes around with 2 laps to go.
Yeah, it's been a relatively sedate pace early on, as you might pretty much expect, but GEIERSPICHLER hasn't really let SHISHKOVSKIY through at all yet. In this final, he's maintained a really solid gap. You can see just a contrast in style. SHISHKOVSKIY is really thundering along. GEIERSPICHLER in the lead is trotting along at a canter at the moment. 2:12 they went through the 800 metre mark, still 700 to go. GEIERSPICHLER has medalled at pretty much every major championship since Sydney 2000. 12 major international titles to his name. That's just Paralympic Games, World Championships and Europeans. He's won a very impressive 23 medals in this category in the past, and you'd very much have him as being the winner here, because SHISHKOVSKIY is putting a huge amount into this, and he's staying in second place all the way through. They are both T52s, which will be the third powerful, if you like, of the T50 wheelchair races, T54 being the strongest, Tatiana McFadden, and so on, which provides us with the fastest wheelchair racing. So here we go, the bell is on the way, they'll go through in around 3:06, and it's still GEIERSPICHLER in the lead, ahead of SHISHKOVSKIY, and looking quite comfortable with it.
Well, he's almost been toying with the Russian, you suspect, and now he begins to move those arms. You can see the speed with which he's turning over the wheel of this high-class chair, and now he is pulling away as he threatened to do all the way through. As far as he was concerned, he was just glancing over his shoulder every now and again. Nothing more than a 200-metre sprint at the end of a very, very light training session. The Austrian showing his class here.
I think GEIERSPICHLER has probably been very, very fair, allowing SHISHKOVSKIY to travel with him for the first 2 3/4 laps, but then with the bell away, he went par, and GEIERSPICHLER is going to cross the line first in the opening final, the opening chunk event of Grosseto 2016, and GEIERSPICHLER crosses, takes the victory in around 4:05, the clock not stopping. It was moderately successful time. It's been a very successful morning for GEIERSPICHLER, though. He takes the victory. SHISHKOVSKIY coming through in second place in 4:20. So he finished second in the 100 metres at the last Europeans. He's much stronger in the shorter events and probably will feature in those sprint events later on in the week, where he's won silver in the 100 of the last Europeans in Swansea and bronze in the 4, as well as this 1500 metres, but there's no bronze on offer today. GEIERSPICHLER takes the win. Good performance indeed. Couldn't have expected much more than that.
You have it?
Well, it was so easy. He was barely out of second gear, but of course, remember, we have the likes of Raymond Martin for him to contend with when he gets to Rio, but you can only beat who's there. I think if you'd asked him honestly, he probably knew that was going to be a fairly easy day, but he's done the business.
That's a championship record as well. 4:06.13. Actually breaks the championship record by a very, very good margin.